Evening, Basil. How you doing?
Very well. How are you, Alex?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. So this week we went to the cinema, didn't we?
Yes, we
What
did.
did we see?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So we went to go and see Tar, which is Tar. That got released recently, and so it was a cinema viewing, and we were both really ecstatic about this one. Actually, it's quite an interesting sort of storyline. So you got Cate Blanchett, who's the main, the big character in the film, very recognisable actress. Obviously, got good CV to her name, and she's I guess you describe her as the head composer of a Berlin orchestra. And
Yeah.
the opening sequence is her talking
It's
about
a principal conductor. It's officially called.
yeah,
The
that yeah,
position is.
principal
Yeah.
conductor.
Yeah.
Okay, and the opening sequence is her talking on stage, which we've got a little clip of in a second. And straight away, you know from this that the film is going to be quite dialogue based, and it's about almost like a sophisticated society. But shall we roll the clip before we say any more, Alex?
Absolutely, absolutely, and what a performance it is. But yeah, let's roll the clip. Yeah.
Lydia, could we talk a little bit about translation? Because I think there are still people who think of the conductor as a kind of human metronome.
Well, yeah, that's partly true.
Yeah, but
keeping time, it's no small thing.
But I suspect there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. Yes, but time is the thing. Time is the essential piece of interpretation. You cannot start without me. See, I start the clock. Now, my left hand, it shapes, but my right hand, the second hand, marks time and moves it forward. However, unlike a clock, sometimes my second hand stops, which means that time stops. Now, the illusion is that, like you, I'm responding to the orchestra in real time, making the decision about the right moment to restart the thing or reset it or throw time out the window altogether. The reality is that right from the very beginning, I know precisely what time it is and the exact moment that you and I will arrive at our destination together. You know, the only real discovery for me is in rehearsal. It's never in performance.
Wow.
Right.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So that kind of gives you a bit of an insight to how the script is and stuff of that nature. You know, it's not the easiest to follow at first. You have to kind of like get yourself comfortable in the first 15 minutes for the ride because the dialogue is very sophisticated, I guess you would say, and the language that they use and the conversations that they have. It's not for the simpleton. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoyable. I don't want to say that in a way that'll put you off. It's very enjoyable. But yeah, Cate Blanchett's character, did you say principal conductor that she is? Is obviously a very educated woman and isn't afraid to speak her mind. A little bit robotic in nature. But yeah, the film kind of follows her story. She's got this relationship. She's a lesbian. She's got this relationship with, I think it's one of the violinists in her particular orchestra. You almost wouldn't really know that until halfway through the film, though, as I say, because of how minimalist she is towards her partner, I guess the way you could say it. But yeah, it just kind of follows her and her story and the relationship to her daughter and stuff. But what did you take of it anyway, Alex?
Yeah, it's very precise. This film is very, very well put together, very clinical, and because it happens in a very thin line of society, section of society, which is the super artistic, extra intellectual type of society in Berlin. I mean, there are a lot of discussions talking about what music and art means in history and how revered she is, Cate Blanchett's character, which is Lydia Tarr is her name, and how she interprets music. Just what you've seen from that clip, that's just a discussion about what she understands music to be and where she finds surprise, which is in the rehearsal, the journey through the rehearsal for a show that they're going to do, a music section that they're going to play. So it's to that really, really fine level of appreciating art where this all happens. And she's at the top of the game. Yeah. She's at the top of the game. She's like one of the composers that has had her mark on the musical, on the history of music, and obviously I felt that she's an old soul in a new world. So she's like Bach, for example, but in today's world, and she's struggling with the conflict of what media perceives the art that she makes today, and that conflict and the position, in her position of godlike power. She's like a god of music, because at one point there's this person coming, an assistant coming to her to make a note on a piece of music, and he has to kneel in front of her to put maybe without noticing, but he kneels just to express his opinion to the maestro, and she looks at him like he's a minion, basically, and she says yes, and then he leaves, and they're like,
there is a bit of that in the film, isn't there? It's like the people in her life, and it's not just her orchestra, but seem to treat her as if she's a queen. You know, it's like Her Majesty. You know, and maybe because of that is because of what she's achieved in her career and stuff like that. But it's almost a little bit perverse, really, in a way, isn't it? You know, the fear that people have. There's a lot of scenes where, especially like her assistant, there is fear in their eyes when they're talking to her.
It's admiration, but fear and admiration. It's fear and admiration at the same time.
Yeah, and it's like just in an instant she could click her fingers and they would lose their jobs, essentially, just because she felt like it. And obviously, part of the storyline does take on the fact that one of her previous students, well, I won't give anything away, but something happened to him, and the rest of the crowd believe it might be something to do with the way Lydia kind of treated them, and you start to buy into that as the film goes along because of how callous she is. She's just very cold and callous, you know.
And, but very calculated. But I've never seen, because obviously this incident that has happened, or because she dips into that power that she sees, and she does, there are signs of sort of abusing that power, but as soon as that starts coming out, and it comes out in today's world, in today's social media, and everything starts to slowly unravel in her life, I've never seen an actress that plays an implosion better than this. You can literally see it from scene to scene, how she slowly is unraveling, and internally, because I don't know if you noticed this, and this is based on sound, and we'll talk about that in a second. There are cues in the film that are sound related. For example, obviously she hears the stuff at night that wakes her up, that we as an audience, we don't hear. She's in bed sleeping, and then suddenly she wakes up, she looks around, and you think she looks like she hears something, we don't hear it, but then she hears it, so obviously she's ahead of us. But at one point she's in the car taking her daughter to school, and there's a tiny little dangling of the car, like something rattles in the car, that she just quickly looks at it, but it's there, it's annoying, and it's disturbing the perfect balance in her life. And there's moments like this throughout the film that slowly, and obviously I won't spoil it what happens at the end.
I think that's just kind of just also gives insight to her, how majestic her ear is to sound, and that's what she'd be listening at when she's in rehearsals with the orchestra, isn't it? You know, it just goes, look, this person wants perfection, and those ears of hers can pick up on the slightest imperfection, even in her own car, you know, and that's what that.
But even in her own world, yes.
Yeah, in her own world, yeah. But the film is. Would you say it's not silly to say it's quite a quiet film, and I think it's almost done on purpose, you know?
Yeah, we talked about this because
when you're in the cinema,
we have a dilemma too. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the cinema, you're kind of used to your eardrums being absolutely blasted, you know, by Transformers or something. But with this one, it was unusually quiet, wasn't it? And I think obviously that's done on purpose, maybe to.
And in today's cinemas, you don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know if I should tell people to go to watch it at the cinema, or wait until it comes out on any subscription.
I think. Well, we obviously mentioned this as we were walking out, but I think I would have enjoyed watching that film on my own. Maybe with even headphones on, you know, like back in the day. Seriously though, like a decent pair of headphones and just on my own and just fully concentrating on it because of the use of sound, or shall I say the lack of sound. Actually.
But then that doesn't do any favors to the cinema, you know.
Well,
the film actually needs to make some money.
Yeah, of course not. No, of course not. But seriously, I think that film would be enjoyed on your own with a decent pair of headphones a lot more than it would be with people rustling packets of crisps.
Correct. You know. Yeah. I mean, it's a brilliant film, and well done to Cate Blanchett, and obviously it's been nominated for 6 Oscars already, because we've seen it on Sunday.
Since we viewed it. And another thing to say, I've completely forgot to say, but I actually think Cate Blanchett in that film the dialogue that she's given and the way she goes about saying it is almost a bit reminiscent to Patrick Bateman out of American Psycho. I don't know if you got those vibes, but it's just the way the concise speech, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's all very precise and it's very thought after, and it's that's the vibe I was getting from her. It's like polished. A female Patrick Bateman almost, but yeah.
Yeah. What a performance! I mean, wow.
Didn't you say Cate Blanchett's finest hour, which is kind of that's a high accolade to say, but I think
she already has 2 Oscars, and you know we've seen her in The Aviator and Notes on a Scandals and Blue Jasmine and films like that. That she's at the top of her game, and topping that is like, wow, okay. It's a guarantee that whenever you see her name on a poster, it's going to be a good film. So
it's a career-defining performance.
Absolutely, yeah. Tar is the name. It's in cinemas now in the UK. Well recommended. So
it would get both thumbs up from me. Really great film.
Absolutely. All right, sir. I shall talk to you next week.
Yeah. Take care, Alex. See you next week.
See you later. Bye.